All right, let's just jump right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're tackling something, well, something that trips up pretty much every single one of us at some point in our lives, and that is letting go of the past. We all want to move forward, right? We all want to grow. But man, there is this heavy gravity to the things we're leaving behind, and it can just pull us right back down. So today, we're going to look at the sheer danger of looking back, and we're going to unpack this by digging into a fascinating, ancient cautionary tale from Scripture that actually has some incredible psychological relevance for us right now.
So let me ask you a quick question. Did you know there is only one person that Jesus actually tells us to remember by name in Scripture? Just think about that for a second. Out of all the major historical figures, all the prophets, the kings, who gets singled out with a direct command to be remembered? Well, besides himself, the answer might actually completely surprise you.
Section 1. Remember Lot's wife. Yep, that's the answer. Let's dig into exactly who this woman was and why her story is so incredibly critical for understanding our own modern struggles with letting go. Because right there in Luke 17:32, Jesus explicitly says just 3 words, remember Lot's wife. What's really fascinating here is just the absolute brevity of it. With literally all of history to draw from, Jesus placed this singular, heavy importance on this one specific historical figure. I mean, he didn't say, remember Abraham's faith, or remember David's courage in this moment. He pointed directly to Lot's wife. So why? Why would he want us to keep her specifically at the absolute forefront of our minds?
Well, to answer that, we've got to look back at the backstory in Genesis 19. God was rescuing Lot and his family from the city of Sodom. They were being delivered from a place of total destruction, being actively led to safety. And as they were fleeing, the angel of the Lord gave them this one incredibly clear, devastatingly simple instruction. Don't look back. Just keep moving forward. But, as the story goes, Lot's wife didn't follow that instruction. She looked back.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real crux of the issue here. She became a pillar of salt. But we really need to understand that the problem wasn't simply that she turned her head and took a physical glance over her shoulder, right? This wasn't just some minor traffic violation of looking the wrong way. There was a much deeper issue at play here. It was her heart. Even while she was being actively led out of somewhere dangerous, her heart still longed for the exact place she was leaving behind. She was physically moving forward, sure, but emotionally and mentally, she was completely anchored to the past. And that brings us to Section 2, the danger of looking back. Let's connect this ancient text directly to the modern habits and emotional struggles that you and I face today. Because honestly, how many of us do the exact same thing today? Maybe you are delivered from a toxic relationship, right? But you find yourself constantly revisiting it, texting that person, checking their social media, or maybe you finally get freed from a destructive habit or an addiction, but you catch yourself kind of romanticizing the good old days of it. Or perhaps you're just called into a brand new season of life, like a new job, a new city, maybe just a new level of maturity, but you are constantly looking backward at the old one. This is exactly what Lot's wife did.
So the crucial takeaway is this. You cannot fully walk into what God has for you if you're always reaching for what he just brought you out of. You literally cannot physically or spiritually embrace the future with open arms if your hands are busy grasping at the past. It's a tough truth, but a compassionate one. Reaching backward will always disrupt your momentum forward.
Now onto Section 3, 40 years in the wilderness. This tragic mindset has some major historical echoes, so let's look at a second example that really shows the tangible cost of this exact struggle. You see, the Israelites struggled with this identical issue. God rescued them from Egypt. He delivered them from generations of harsh slavery. But once they were out in the wilderness, on their way to the Promised Land, what did they do? Literally, all they talked about was wanting to go back. Their hearts just kept drifting toward the past. They missed the familiar food. They missed the predictability, even though that predictability was literally enslaving them. They were out of Egypt, but Egypt wasn't out of them. And because they just could not let go, a journey to the Promised Land that honestly probably should have been like a 2-week road trip turned into 40 agonizing years in the wilderness. It's the ultimate "are we there yet" situation, all because their mindset was stuck in the rearview mirror. 40 years of wandering in circles simply because they were so hyper-focused on what they left behind. That is the ultimate danger of looking back. It severely delays your future. So overcoming this requires a massive shift in perspective. The book of Isaiah puts it beautifully. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. I love that. The text is actively agitating us to stop dwelling. It's a direct command to redirect our focus. God is basically saying, look, I am trying to take you into a new season, a new place, a new purpose, but you've got to look forward to actually see the new thing I'm doing. Which leads us to our final section, stepping into your new season. Now that we understand the danger and the real cost of looking backward, how do we actively shift our focus to the future? Well, we're constantly caught between the familiar past and God's best in the future. The reason Lot's wife and the Israelites looked back is actually pretty simple. The past is familiar. Even if it's toxic, even if it's literal slavery, it is known. The future is unknown, which is scary, right? But the massive lesson here is that while the past may be familiar, familiar isn't always God's best. Lot's wife wanted what God had saved her from more than the future he had prepared for her. We have to choose God's best over mere familiarity. And hey, if you're afraid of the unknown future, Psalm 32:8 offers some incredible comfort. It says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. You aren't stepping into the unknown alone here. Trusting in this direction brings guidance, not abandonment. You can afford to stop looking back because your steps forward are being actively instructed and guided. This completely shifts the paradigm, doesn't it? God isn't just calling you away from something, He's leading you towards something better. If you only focus on what you're losing or leaving behind, naturally you're going to mourn it. But if you realize you were being led into growth, into development, into new places of authority, it becomes an incredibly exciting journey. You're getting an upgrade. You're not just abandoning things. So how do we practically step forward into everything prepared for us? First, don't let comfort keep you stuck. Comfort is honestly the enemy of progress. Second, don't let fear of the unknown hold you back. You got to let go of that illusion of control. And finally, surrender what you are afraid to leave behind. Because sometimes the exact thing you are terrified to let go of is the very thing you absolutely must surrender so you can be taken somewhere greater than you have ever been before. I want to leave you with this final, deeply personal question to just reflect on today. What is the familiar thing you need to surrender today to step into your greater tomorrow? Is it a habit? Is it a mindset? Maybe a relationship that's just dragging you down? Whatever it is, remember Lot's wife. Do not let a longing for the past keep you stuck in place while your future is out there waiting. Decide to look forward, let go of the familiar, and step boldly into the new thing that is ready for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time as we continue to break down these fascinating concepts together.